here, and Rufus here will assist you with all your queries which you have today uh, through the webinar. So let's just get started. Okay, so if you guys haven't yet created a projects portal, please go to zoho.com/projects or go to projects.zoho.com and you would land on this page. And once you're on this page, please enter your company name and all the details and hit sign up for free. Once you've signed up and you've logged in, you would be then greeted by this homepage. So if you have missed out on any uh, previous day activities and you just want to get the information all in just one place, we do have this homepage where it has these wonderful widgets where you can click, drag, and drop them as you like. You can also click on the three dots at the top right and enable disable these widgets at any given point. Please note, for today's webinar, the portal is automatically upgraded to the enterprise plan so that we do not miss on any new features which is released or which is just previously released. So any information that you would like to see across the board for all the users, for all the projects within a single page is used to it's best to use these widgets within this section. So now you've logged in, you've landed on the home page. The first thing we would like to do is setting up your users. Now to do that, you go to the setup at the top right, which is a small wrench icon to the top right where you see this. You click on that, and then you have something as manage users to the bottom right, and then you have portal users. So you click on portal users, and then you hit add user at the top right. So portal users are nothing but the users who work with you, who work for you, who work for the company. So they might be your colleagues, they might be your subordinates, and so on. Please enter their email address, their role, profile, and then hit add. Next comes your clients. So at one point or one given point, you will also be working for your client users. So it's best to add them. The only difference here is that there's just a small added layer. And here you would just add the client company first before adding the client user. So here, if you go to the top right, you have the small drop down. You add the client company, and here my client company is BridgeBob. They're a construction company, and within that company, my contact would be Sam. So I have just invited Sam. So to do that, once you added the client company here, you would have the option to add the client user to the right hand side. You would have noticed something when I was adding users, there was something as profiles and roles. Profiles is something which determines the accessibility level of a user's permission within Zoho projects. Meanwhile, roles are the designation level given to the user by the company. So roles can be anything. He can be added as an a newbie who just joined the company. He can also be a senior level technician or a senior level sales consultant. Anything. Those are just designations given to the user. But within projects, it is profile which determines his accessibility. So profile matters within projects, and by default we have certain profiles, which is admin, manager, employee, contractor, and client. So clients are your external users. So the rest all of them are internal. uh, I have also created certain extra profiles. Creation of new profiles are only possible within the enterprise plan. So if you go inside a profile, you would have three different um, levels of customization. One which you would see is the portal level permission. So the portal level permission determines setting up the portal. Any changes here which you give to the user, he'll be able to make any changes to the entire portal. Like for example, he can add or delete new users. He can create new profiles and roles, creation of new projects, project budget, etc., and so on. So anything which is there within this setup, if you see on the top right, there is a small wrench icon. I just clicked here. He would have access to this. So these are your portal permissions. Next in the line is your project level permissions. These are permissions within each modules within a specific project, and below that you would see is the next option is the module level permission. So within each module within a specific project, would you like to have your users see all the tasks within a specific project, or only the ones which are assigned to him, or one which is related to him? How about timesheets? Does he want to have access to the full to all of them? Do you want your managers to have approval access for each and every time log which they do? All of these can be customized within this section. So it's split into three. It's the portal level permission. Next comes the project level, and within the project level, then comes the module level permissions. And you can just make these changes, and users who are added to these profiles will then those changes will be automatically be updated. Now, before we go into any further details within the project creation of the tabs, let's just quickly go into setting up water templates. Let's go through the water templates, layout and fields and such, so that it'll be much easier for us to do that when we create a new project. So you go to the setup. Once again, the top right, it's a small wrench icon. Um, Under portal configuration, you have templates. So we have two types of templates. One is the project template, and the second one is the task level template. So to create a project level template, there are two ways. Either you can come into this section right here, and then you can hit on new project template at the top right, and then create a project template from scratch. You can enter a name, you can choose an overview, choose a task layout, which we will be seeing in a minute. Enter tags, budget if your project has one. You can have advanced budgeting option if you have enabled integration with Zoho Books or Zoho Invoice. And then this client review. These are my custom fields, which again we will be seeing in a moment. But there's a second option is that you can copy an active project and you can create that as a template. Um, the data from the active project will be just transferred. We'll just make a copy of it, so there won't be any changes within the active project. You don't have to worry about that. All you have to do is just come back into the same section, create a new project template, and within this section is the second option, the second field, which says choose from project. So it'll list down the list of active projects. You can just choose them and then hit add project template. So once you've added the template, when you go inside, you have certain modules. Once again, you are greeted by the dashboard. It shows the overall all of the widgets, and which shows the overall information within a specific project. Then there you have your milestones. Then you can set up your milestones, your tasks. You can even pre-upload documents for a specific project, and all of these informations are here. Forums, add users, which is more important, which users are going to be part of this template, and so on. The next comes is your task list templates. Now click on template setup. Sorry, I went too fast. So setup, once again, portal configuration. Below that is your templates. You click on templates. We saw the projects one. Now on the left, you're going to click on tasks. Now tasks is pretty simple and it's very straightforward. It doesn't have any complications. You can anytime input your task list template. Please note, the only difference between a project template and a task list template is that project templates can only be used at the time of creating a new project. It cannot be used to override an existing projects. It cannot be done so. Meanwhile, a task list template can anytime be imported to an active project, to an ongoing project, and this is the major difference between the two. Now within the task list template, it's quite simple. You hit add task list template at the top right. You just give it a name. So the name here which I've given is called site review, which is my task list. It's nothing but a grouper which has no major role. Your main work items comes below. So you will have an option called add tasks. You would add the tasks. So for me, I've written, I've created something as an inspection on regular basis. So that is going to be my task. And if I have a subtask below that, if we have something as a small cogwheel to the left, you hit add subtask and then a subtask gets added. That's it. There's nothing else which you can do here. Now the next option which we have, which you're going to see right now, is layout and fields, which is quite important. This for project layouts, it's available from the enterprise plan, and for task layout, it's available from the premium plan. But the custom fields in both these sections are only available from the enterprise plan. So what are these layouts? You can by default, any project, any task which you create, they all fall into the standard layout. So when you go inside the layout, you have default fields. Now these are the fields which we saw when you were about to create a new project template, and these are the fields which you will also see when you create a new project as well. So budget, currency, the these are something which is given by the system, so you'll not be able to edit or make any changes to it. However, these are some information: the client review, client information, yeah, the client name, phone number, email address. These are something which I gave in, because these are some extra information which should be useful for me and my co-workers to see when they click on new projects. So to do that, on the left side you would see the list of fields which are available for you to use. So before you could input all of this, first you must create a section for your fields to be to be input. So you click on add section on the left, you click, you drag them, and then you drop them to the right, and you just give it a name, and post which you just click on drag on any of the fields which you like, and then input the email, the name and any value which is required. If it's going to be mandatory, you click on mandatory and hit add to the layout. So you can also see on clicking on remaining fields how many fields limits we allow for creation of these, um, and then you can hit save layout, and then it gets saved. You can also create a new layout. You can come back to the section here, hit new layout. So you can have certain projects mapped to certain layouts, and other certain set of projects to certain other layouts. um, and then the same thing goes for tasks as well. But here, before we go into that, we have fields here. So if you want to quickly see how many fields you have created overall for each project or for each layout, you would see that in the fields option here. And if you just want to delete any field, you come into this section here, that is, you come to layout and fields projects, and then you click on field section over here, you hover over each field, and then you hit delete. Now same thing goes for the tasks as well. By default, you'll have a standard layout. I didn't like that, so I went and created a new layout. So it's called design and creation. Of course, all the default information will be pulled into the one which you newly create. However, within this section, you can either add a new section, but within the tasks layout, the only advantage is that you don't have to create a new section. You can just click and drag to the default section which is provided by the system, and you'll still be able to add custom fields to it. Now, many of you might be wondering, how would you guys, or how would Zoho projects support? Does Zoho project support customized statuses? Yes, we do support. All you have to do is come into this section, that is setup, portal configuration, layout and fields, tasks. So within this tasks, you have something as status. You click on the small blue color icon which says customize. You click on customize, you hit customize, and then you can create uh, different statuses, and you can name them, you can give them different colors and so on. There's a much easier way for you to get into this section. I will be going through that once we create a new project. You don't have to follow so much steps that is going to set up, and then you go to portal configuration, layouts, and then tasks, and then you choose a different layout which you've created, and then clicking on customize. Instead of that, there's another much simple way which I will tell you. The same thing goes for issues as well. You can create a bunch of new layouts, and the same concept applies as well. So okay, so you've logged in, you've seen the home page, you've seen the setup, we have added users, we've seen what are templates, what are layout and fields. The next thing you would want to know is your feeds. The feed section has two main um, uh, options, which are your status and your activity stream. So any information which is input by any user within projects would be shared here if you're part of that project. So any they can post up a status within any project, and if you're part of that, all of those information gets input here. It's just like your Facebook feed. It just behaves that way. Any online feed program, it works the same. We also have an option as activity stream. Um, Basically, this is just a small audit log. So it has the date, it has a timestamp, and it gives you what actions you have performed. So if you just want to have look into what's gone on April 7th, which is today, You can just quickly go through the section to just find out what's gone through each and every project, or what are the activities which has gone through. Done. Now, our last section here, the three main tabs which you would always have within projects are your home, your feed, and then your projects. Now here we call this as the project listing page, and by default your all projects would be the listed. So these are the views. So this is a section where you would see all your projects which are created. Okay, and this is a section where you'll also be creating new projects. You'll be grouping them, and you can create different views and so on. So let's go through that one by one. So within the projects listing page, the first thing you would come to notice is that each and every project would be just blankly listed here. That's because by default your option which will be chosen is all projects. So this is the view over here. If you hover your mouse to the top left, it says all projects, and there's a small drop down. When you hover your mouse to the top left, you would see bunch of different views. Please don't get confused. It's quite simple. You would be by maximum using projects be using view by groups, because me as a project manager, I like grouping my projects, and rest of the world does the same. So they group, project managers group their projects so that it makes, it's much simpler to view them, and it's much categorized. So you can view them based on groups. Next is to view based on project owners themselves. So who are the project managers? And so these are the different sections. Next, if I am working for a client company, and if a client company is associated to the project, then I would hit view by client company, and then the projects are segregated based on them. Now, how do I create? Now, the first option is we went by groups. Now, how do I create these groups? How do I categorize my projects? It's very simple. Once again, you come back to the project listing page, which is already there. You click on the three dots at the top right within the same section, and you hit manage groups. And on the left pane over here, which you see, you click or drop add project security. So you click on the section, you type in the name, and then you hit create group. So when you create a new project, which I'll just quickly show you here, when you create a new project, you would find this option here, and if you created something, a new group, you would just select that, or you can create a new group directly from the section as well. So that's two different ways. Now the next option is to view by owner. Once you create a project, you when you create a new project, and when you add a owner, it automatically gets assigned to them. So, and then when you add a client user, it goes. And then we have a bunch of other options as well, as make this as a public and so on. But these are default views which is given by the system. And there was something which was newly introduced a month or 2 months back, which was called custom view. Now this is only available within the task section, but then we also got that into projects after so many requests. So to do that, to create your own custom view, or the view which you like, instead of every time coming into the section hitting the filter at the top right, selecting a bunch of filters and then using that, you can always create a new custom view. So you come into the projects listing page, you hover to the top left, you have this bunch of views, and below that you see something as create custom view. You click on this, it gives you a bunch of criteria. First is going to be the project name. So is it going to be active, is it going to be archived, or is it going to be template? So you'll be choosing, at Max you'll be choosing active, and then what is the project name? Is it going to be based on, what is the criteria? Is it going to be based on the project name? Is it going to be based on the owner, or is it going to be based on a specific custom field or any default field which is already there? And then you choose is, and then you type in that specific criteria. Or let's say if it's owner, and if is, then it lists a bunch of owners which are already there. And then you say that, you give it a name, you give it a description, and enable this. It'll come as a column if you enable the small checkbox. Then comes accessibility. Show this custom view. You can customize the view, whether it's only going to be for you, or if it's going to be for all other users, or it's just going to be for selective users. So when you select the third option, you'll also have an option to select only for specific users. So if you are managing a company, and if you just want selective users to be able to just log in, see what is going to happen, then you can just create a custom view and then assign only few users to that. So when they log in, they'll be able to choose that view and then be able to see certain number of projects, certain number of important projects. you hit cancel. Now, how do you make this default? We also have a wonderful option to make this as a default. Now, when you create a custom view, it comes under this custom view section. But when you hover your mouse over, either you can make this as a favorite, or you have another option as an anchor option. When you select on this anchor option, it becomes the default view. So every time you go to projects.zoho.com, you log in, you come into the project listing page, and the default thing is the sample webinar. So that gets chosen by default. So you don't have to do unnecessary clicks by going to the top right and choosing a different view, and then scrolling down and then selecting that. You don't have to do that. So perfect. So we have covered the most basics. So let's go ahead and then create a new project. Hover your mouse to the top right within the project listing page and then hit create new project. Give it a name. Choose which manager or which project manager is going to manage this, or who is responsible for that. Oh, just one moment. Something just happened. Sorry guys, just lost you for a second. Okay, so I hope you guys are still able to hear me. I'm just taking a quick peek. Perfect. You guys are all connected. Okay, so you enter the project name. Okay, select which manager is going to be taking responsibility for this. Template, if required, if you already created one, well and good. Start date, end date. Please make sure that you have a valid start and end date for your project. Then comes a small checkbox which says make this as a strict project. So when you click on this checkbox, everything within the project, including the milestones, so they all fall within the start and end date of the project. It cannot bypass that of a project's due date. So if I don't have this checkbox on, make this a strict project, my milestone date or my task's due date can extend past the project's due date itself. But if you want everything to fall in an order that everything should be within the project start and end date, it should be within the milestones date, and within the milestone should be the task dates, then you can go ahead and have a strict project. It's not entirely necessary, but if you want to do that, you can do that. Project overview, please give it a description. Layout, which we talked about earlier, choose a standard layout or any layout which you've created by default. Group name, once again, we're going to categorize them, group name, or you can just hit here, create it. What is going to be the billing status? So each time when a user's log, whether is it going to be billable or is it going to be non-billable? If it's just a project, it's just an internal project, then you can just choose over here and then hit non-billable. So when your users log and then when they submit the timesheet, it's going to be just non-billable, and then your managers don't have to unnecessarily go inside the timesheets module and then make changes, which I will again show you in a minute. Then comes your project budget. We do have different options apart from this. It's available once you've set up integration with books or invoice, or if you are from the premium edition, by default our system does give you the project budgeting option. I'll just show you a quick sneak peek. You go to the setup, you go to portal configuration, you go to org settings, and here on the left pane you would have project budget, and all you have to do is just hover your mouse to the top right, you have budget settings, you enable that, and once you do that, your project budget settings just get enabled. You don't have to set up books or invoice integration. But if you're going to invoice your clients, you have to set up your Zoho books or Zoho invoice. Next comes my client reviews and my client event. These are my custom fields which I created, which you saw earlier. Next is one option which is roll up. In other words, in other terms, it is called as task cascading. So when you enable this option, it pulls information or it rolls up information from your subtask to your parent task, and from your parent task it's pushed to your task list, and then from your task list to the project due date. So what are these information which gets rolled up? So it rolls up the due date, the dates, it rolls up the log hours, it rolls up the duration and work hours. So these are information which gets
they roll up from the subtask to the parent task. And if you have a project which is really required for that, then you can go ahead and hit the roll up. If it's just a normal project which you do not want anything to have to do with roll up or task cascading, then you can just go ahead and just ignore that option. Please note, this option can only be enabled when you create a new project, and you cannot disable it once you have enabled it as well. So please be very careful when you enable this option. Make sure that you have no, you can only enable this when you create a new project. Next, you have customize tabs. So by default, the dashboard and feeds, by selected, you will not be able to remove them. And if it's a client user, when he logs in, he'll only be able to see the feed and not the dashboard, which we will see in a bit later. So the tasks, issues, if you don't like any of these tabs, you can always disable them. Um, then comes your project access. Now this is really very important. Project access, it determines whether a user, an internal user, a portal user, will be able to see a project or not. This is only associated to your portal users. So if it is a private project, people who are added to the specific project only will be able to see. If it is a public project, people who are not added to the project, but if they're added to the portal itself, they'll be able to see the project. They'll be able to go inside the project. They'll be able to see the progression, how the tasks are going on. They'll be able to make comments, type in any comments, follow, do anything, but they'll not be able to make any changes to the public project. They can just go view, see how it is happening, type in comments, follow. But apart from that, they'll not be able to see anything. The project access type is only for your internal users. Now, you might keep it as private, you might keep it as public, but then when your client user logs in, he might not be able to see any of that. That's because, irrespective of what project access you have given, client users will only be able to see projects to which he is added to. So it can be a private, it can be a public, but when he logs in, when he sees this projects listing page, he'll not be able to see that project if he's not added to it. So let's go ahead and create a new project. You have, you've put in all the information. Next thing you do is add. So for today's webinar, I've created a sample construction based project, and that is gonna be my construction of design of house project A. So let's go inside the project. So once again, when you go inside the project, you're greeted by this wonderful dashboard, which gives you the overall um, information of the project. Note this information. This section alone is not visible for the client users because it contains information which has both internal and external information within the project. So this information alone will not be able to, the client users will not be able to see them. So once again, you can move around your widgets from left and right. You can click on customize widget at the top right, and then you can enable or disable them. You can click on the three dots on the top right of here. You can hit edit project or project settings, or move to archived, or you can even trash a project. The next option, once again, is the feed. The only difference between this feed option here within a project and the global feed is that the global feed over here at the top left will give you information across the board, across all the projects which are added to. And the feed module within the specific project gives you information only for that project which you are inside or which you are viewing. So once again, it has a status, it has the activity stream, which is again a mini audit log. Then comes your main, is your milestones. Now from here on is what you're gonna start designing your projects. How is your workflow gonna be based on? Now, before we go into the creation, let me just show you. Or, please visualize a flow chart. First stands above is a project, is then followed by a milestone, then it's followed by a task list, then comes tasks, and then comes the subtask. Just one moment. Okay. So yeah, that's the flow. So the project comes, then followed by the milestone, then follows by the task list, and then follows by the task, and then subtask. So this is the flow. So milestones are nothing but your major deliverables. In other terms, these are your targets to be achieved within a specific time range. So since this project is a construction based project, I have certain criteria which has to be completed within a specific time range. So my flow, I have if it's a six-story building, and when I create a project, my floor design for all of the six floors has to be complete within the next 6 or 4 months. So that would be my Q1. So I would or I would name that as a base design, which I've just done here. And within that milestone, I would have various bunch of task lists. Oops. Okay, I guess that wasn't a very good example. Okay, evaluation. Okay, so within this milestone, I would have various task lists, and within these task lists would contain some of my tasks. So if you have something which has to be, it can be a huge project. So yeah, so I just forgot to mention. If your project is huge, if it's running for almost a year, you can have one or two milestones, and within that, so each milestone can have its own task list and then tasks under them, like how you're seeing, and subtasks as well. But if your projects are fairly smaller, and it doesn't have requires for you to categorize all of that, then you can actually ignore your milestones, directly jump into the tasks module, and then start creating a task list and task, and then directly work on them. It's not mandatory, because you only create milestones when you want to categorize in a very huge number, and if the project is running for a very long time, then you can go ahead and create a milestone. It's absolutely not mandatory for you to create a milestone. Okay, so you come into the section, you hit add milestone on the top right. You enter a name, you enter the start date, end date, who's responsible, the flag, which is going to be internal, external, and then you hit add. Now, very important thing over here which you would want to know is something called flag. Now, this flag option you would see in different modules: milestones, tasks, issues, forums. Now, what are these flags? These flags determine the data if it's going to be internal or external. Why does it matter? It matters a lot when you're working with your clients. If you flag it as internal, then only your internal portal users, the one whom you add as managers, contractors, employee, admin, will be able to see. When you flag that as an external, both your internal users and your external users might be able to see. So you might be working on a project, but there are some information which has to be discussed internally, which is confidential from the client. Then you can go ahead and create internal flagged data. So if you flag a milestone as internal, the respective or corresponding data is associated with that milestone. So what is associated to milestone? It's the task list, task, and subtask. So anything associated with this milestone will then be flagged as internal, and the client user will not be able to see them. And if it's flagged as external, everything associated with that milestone, all of that will be viewed by the client user. So you hit add, you did this, you've done with your milestones. The next and the main module, which covers almost 60 to 70% of the project management, is your tasks. So we are in this section, and it's gonna be fun. So we have 4 different views within the section. One is the classic view, next is your plain view, third is your Kanban, which is the most favorite views for the project managers, and the fourth view is gonna be your custom view, which we saw even for your projects. So the same custom view can also be created for your tasks as well. So what is the classic view? What are the difference? You might be asking, you might be wondering, they all look the same, everything just shows tasks. Each of these views has its own features. You don't call that features, do you? You call that uh, operations. I'm sorry, guys. Okay, so coming back, so classic view. So within the classic view, we were discussing something as the flow earlier. So the project, milestone, task list, tasks, and subtask. So it is a hierarchy. The classic view always shows you the data based on hierarchy. So we have the project. So you are within this project. Evaluation is the milestone which I created, which is showing in green color here. So if it's within the due date, it shows green. If it's over the due date, it shows red. It is then associated with the task list, which is layout design, which is always in bold black letters. These are your task lists, and they are your just group. They play no other major role. The only role which they play is they group your tasks. And below them are your tasks, and subtasks. So the classic view will always show you based on hierarchy. Okay. The next thing is the plain view, and plain view doesn't like hierarchy. It's just blankly, or it just shows you all of the tasks which you've just created or which is there within your system. Um, but it displays or it shows you based on your due date, which is very important. So if you're running late on a project, or if you've missed out on any activity, which I said once again on the home page, you would just come into a specific project and you click on the plain view. You might have missed out something. You might, if you just want to quickly know which is on a higher due date, which is gonna be closer on a due date, then you come into the plain view and then check your tasks. There's no hierarchy, just displays all of the tasks. But if you just want to know which is subtask, you just hover your mouse over here. It just shows you just a small icon. It shows if it's a level 2 task, then it means subtask. So if there is no option over here, that means this is a parent task. Now comes the Kanban. So Kanban are your boards and cards section of the tasks. And what I mean by boards and cards, so we have different types of boards. That's what at least I like to call. So we have status board, we have task list board, and then we have priority, and then we have percentage. Uh, let's go ahead for status boards. Now, once I'm in this board, I have different statuses, customized statuses, which I was saying earlier when we created in the layout and field section. So, and I also told you that I would show you a much simpler way for you to create custom statuses, which I would be showing you right here. There you go. You come inside Kanban view, you scroll all the way to the right hand side of your screen. You will have something as add status. When you click on create, well, there's a new pop-up. Okay, I hope you guys don't mind the pop-up though. Okay, and then you jump directly into the section, and then you create new layouts. So you create new customized statuses, and it is then applied for that specific project. Or you go to the classic view, and within the classic view, just on this column section, you have something as status. You click on this red, gearbox. Um, you click on this icon. Once again, a pop-up. It opens a new tab, and you're redirected to the section where you can create new statuses. Close this, going back to the section, coming back to the Kanban view. So yeah, we have different boards. So each board, one of the board is in progress, and another board is waiting for client approval. And this. Now let's say my staircase is in progress and waiting for client's approval because my client did not like it. So I just click, drag the card, that is the staircase card from in progress to client approval. If you missed out on that, once again, terrace here, I moved. It's done. Any changes you make within any of these views, it is updated globally. So it is updated automatically in all the views. So it's not like you move here in Kanban, but then you go back to the classic view, it stays there. No, you make any changes here, it also applies there in the Kanban. You make any changes, like for example, I need to move a task from one task list to another. So these are my task list. These boards are my task list. So layout design, flow plan, test. My cards are the ones which are my tasks, which I then just move them here. Let's say I put it in test. There you go. That's it, done. I just moved a task from one task list to another. Coming back to the classic, now our fourth view is gonna be the custom view. It's the same. You hover your mouse here to the top right. Over here next to the Kanban, it gives you a small drop down. You're done. You create custom view. You give it. We have a bunch of criteria, just like how the project had, and then you choose. Let's say assigned to is I choose myself, or I choose Fayaz or Lazy Peon or Prasanna, and then you choose any of one of them. Uh, you give it a name, description, and then what is going to be the accessibility. Same as how the project custom view is, and then you hit save. So when you go back, you can also when you hover over the custom view, you can make that as the default view. So every time you come into the project, only that view is selected. You can also use the filter icon on the top right for quickly selecting your filters. So if I select a bunch of filters over here and I hit find, there's something an option which says save to. And if we click on new custom filter, and automatically that will be saved as the new custom view. So you don't, if you're just testing bunch of filters out, and then the quickest way for you to create a new custom view is to do that. Um, then we have the three dots at the top right. You can click on, sorry, I went too fast. Three dots on the top right within the classic view. Uh, you can reorder your task list. Maybe you didn't like how they are displayed here. So you hit on reorder of the top right. I mean, just click and drag, and you hit save task list order, and they automatically get saved. And then once again, three dots on the top right, export option. Please note the three dots where you see within each module. This is the option where most of our export or import options will be available. So within task section, it is three dots at the top right to export them. If you go to milestones, or the three dots again are for exporting. So that's for your reporting purposes. So import options and then export options. So import tasks. Let's go. Let's give a quick run through of this. We have four different import options which we support: MPP and MPPX. Those are from importing from your Microsoft projects. If you have them, is your XLS, XLSX, and then CSV. Both of these formats are your spreadsheets, and then we have JSON as well. So you can, if you have such files, you can always click here and then import them. If you're having any difficulties importing your tasks inside projects, so these are importing your tasks. So you click on this, any of this. Let's say I have an XLS, which is my spreadsheet. When you kind of come into the section, you have something as sample download file. Please don't worry. When you go to the guide, user guide as well, you will have an option to download there. But if you just want something quick, when you're importing tasks, and if it's not importing it properly, please download a sample file, go through it once. It's quite simple and easy, and you'll be able to import them. The same option goes for exporting your task as well. We support only two options as of now, which both are spreadsheets. So the format is going to be XLS or CSV. You can choose certain filters and then export as well. Okay, so the main. Let's get to the main section. You're in the classic view. You're going to set up. You're going to design your tasks now. So you have your mouse to the top right. First, you're going to create a task list. You're going to create the group. I mean, you're going to select the category. So I hit add task list. I give it a name. If it's going to be associated to a milestone, internal or external milestone, I choose it to which is. If it's not going to be associated to any milestone, then it's going to be just none. And then flag internal. If it's going to be internal, then only your internal users will be able to see. Then if it's going to be external, then only your client users and your internal users will be able to see. And then you hit add. Now, before you do that, we discussed about templates earlier. Now, you can choose from your task list templates which you have previously created. The one which you saw on the setup, portal configuration templates, it pulls information from there. Let's say I need more information because your task list templates do not have users assigned. It doesn't have dependencies. It doesn't have a start and end it. What I mean, quickly showing you setup on top right, portal configuration, templates, tasks. When you come into the section, you only have duration and start after. You don't have any option to assign users. You don't have any option to set up dependencies. You don't have option to upload comments or type in comments, documents, anything. But when you go inside a project template, and when you go inside the tasks module, you have those options. You see how beautiful it is. You go inside, you can assign, you can give it a description, you have all of this. Let's say that you need a specific task list from that template. You go inside the class, I mean, you come inside the project tasks module, you hit on add task at the top right, and you can choose from that specific project template. So I'm going to choose construction template 1, and within that is going to be my task list, which is layout design. And then it just pulls up information. So it pulls up all the users assigned there, I mean, whatever is there, and the description, documents, everything gets pulled in with the dependency. So you don't have to worry about that. So if you have everything set up just for a task list, and if this project has the same number of work items, you can do that as well. Next, you have created, now if you haven't deported yet, so once you've created the uh, task list, you're going to go ahead and create a task. So you hit on add task at the top right, you give it a name, description, task list if it's going to be, and then task information, if you're going to attach a document, please note if you're going to attach a document from this section, the maximum upload limit only will be 20 MB. If you have more than 20 MB, I'll give you a workaround in a minute when we go into the document section. And the task name, which is going to be a owner. These are my custom fields which are created. Then comes your, you might ask how many owners can I ask add for a task. As of now, it's unlimited. You can add how many ever users you would like. Start and end date. Give it a valid start and end date. Priority, high, medium, low. Remarks, my custom field. Then comes your reminder and your recurrence. And then you hit add. But before you hit add, please notice that there are three main options within this section. One is set work. The next one is your reminder. The third one is going to be your recurrence. These are your three main options which you need to know when you create a task. So when you click on set work, let's say me. So, and then when you click on this, we have three options within the set work. So either it's going to be work hours per day, or it's going to be work percentage per day, or then it's going to be work hours. Work hours per day and work percentage per day. The first two options are the same. One gets calculated based on hours, but which displays in percentage. So for example, I'm going to type in 4 hours. It gets calculated in percentage, but now if I choose percentage per day, I'm going to be working 50 percentage on this task, then it gets calculated in hours. Now, how is this getting calculated? It is based on the business hours which you set up for the portal, which is available in the setup, which you can go later on and ask, or you can ask Rufus, where you can set up the business hours for your portal. He's available in the Q&A section. Um, the third option is work hours. So what is this? What are the difference between all of the two or the three options which is listed here? Work hours per day. So if I'm going to enter 4 hours and the duration of the task starts from Monday to Friday, which is from, let's say, just imagine from 1st to 5th, from Monday to Friday. So each and every day when I log in, I'm supposed to be working 4 hours for this task. So that is what is assigned to me by my manager. So I log 4 hours, I work on the stock, I clock in, I clock out, and that is done. Same thing goes for the second option. The third option is different. My manager assigns 5 hours for me, and it's going to be the same task. The duration is going to be from 1st to 5th, which is from Monday to Friday, but it's just 5 hours. So I can log in on Monday, clock in for 5 hours, and then clock out just like that, and I can complete the entire task. Or I can log in on Monday, I can work for 4 hours or 3 hours, log out, log in the next day, and work for the other 2 hours and complete the work. So here the concept is the duration of the task can be for 5 days, but the work related to that task is just 5 hours. So I can just log in on one day, complete the whole task, or I can take my leisurely time for the entire week and then work on it for an hour for each day and then close the task. So that is your work hours. You might be using them quite often in the future. Then comes your reminder options. Reminders are nothing but your email reminders. They just give a notification to your email stating that hey, your task is overdue. So you have different options here, so you can just set them up, or if it's going to be on a specific day, you can set them up. So this is one of the main options here within the task. Oops. Your next option is going to be your recurrence, which is quite important. Yeah, what a recurrence is, if be it any based company you might be working on, if there is a repeated job and if it's on a daily basis or on a weekly basis, if it gets done, then project manager again has to log in, go inside the specific project, and then create a new task. If you do not like that option, or if it's going to be tedious, if he's working on two projects, it's fine. Some companies or some, you know, much bigger companies, if you have much bigger client, uh, area, your projects are going to be increasing day by day. It's going to be increasing from 10 to 20 to 50 and so on. And managing all of those projects single-handedly, it's going to be quite manual labor work. So you can set up recurrence in that uh, time. So when a user gets, completes a task, automatically recurrence is reopened either on a daily basis, or if it's going to be a weekly task, then it's based on a weekly basis or on monthly. So, and then you can choose the timing, the frequency as once every one or two frequencies, and how many occurrences. Now, then we have a two different options below here. is retain comments for subsequent recurrences. Now, what does that option mean? I have it's a very important topic. My CEOs asked me to coordinate with my clients and talk with them, and all of this is happening in the comment section. So where is this comment section? It's right when you create a task, when you go inside this task, this fake reference. These are my comment section. So I mention a user. Let's say Fayaz is my client, and if I'm asking Fayaz, hi Fayaz, is you know is anything. I mean, is the work satisfaction or satisfactory or something like that? Or the client gives some information. All of these are recorded in your comments. It's better to communicate within the comment section or the feed section because it holds a proof. Or any communication with you or your manager within the comment section, they all hold a record and it doesn't go anywhere. So when you create a new and if you close that task and when a new task is reopened, and if you do not have this checkbox on, all of those comments on informations are gone, which you do not want to have. If it's going to be a vital information, a very important information, which could actually change the progress of your tasks, then those will be lost, and unfortunately, even we will not be able to restore them for you. So please make sure that you have this checkbox ticked if you want to have those comments, you know, be pushed into the new tasks which are created as well. The next option is create new recurrences after the close of current task. This is our default behavior. So we gave them as an option a month back. Now, what is the reason behind this? Recurrence tasks will only be created when your current task is closed. If your current task is not closed, then your recurrence will not be created. So in that case, if you do not want that, you can disable this checkbox, and if it passes your due date, then automatically a new task will be created with the existing task as open. If you do not like that, and if your it's and if your project manager likes to see which tasks are in overdue, and then he comes here and then sees that this task is still in overdue status and the new task is not created, then you can go ahead and then have this checked. You hit add. Once you hit add a task, when you go inside, this is called your tasks detail page. You will have every information of the task, owner, work hours which you've done, your percentage, which remarks, recurrence which you've set up. Then if you scroll down, you have comments, subtasks, which you can create directly from the section, or you can create it from the classic view as well. Log hours, documents, which you can upload, associate the forums to this, see what dependencies which you have here. You can add your dependencies directly from this section. Um, but I would highly recommend you not to do that. There's a much simpler way which you can do this with. Then you have issues, and then you have the three dots as well. These three dots mostly are your extensions, which are again in your setup. If you have any questions, you can ask Rufus about them, and he'll assist you with it. Um, that's it, and these are for your tasks. We are done with your tasks. Um, Next is your issues on the left pane. Issues work same. So if you come across any issues on your ongoing project, you can create them as an issue. If you guys are based in a software development company, if a cloud-based company, you can go ahead and create issues. You know how bugs are. Please know the only difference between issues and tasks is that you don't have a Gantt chart associated with it. You'll not have a definite start date because you here only you'll have a due date because you'll not know when an issue arises within a project. It is something which doesn't happen based on a scheduled time. It can happen at any moment. It can happen at the right of the project, and an issue can arise or at any time in a given project. After in milestone module classification, again flag internal or external. Please note another important thing is that issue can only be assigned to one user because when you're working on, let's take for example, when a developer is working on a specific issue, it's that developer who developed that specific feature. So only he will be the main point of view or point of contact, and only that, so there can only be one user for an issue. You can always add custom fields to the issues or anything else and then add them. You can add them as a followers as well, so that's a different thing. So basically, it has a list in the Kanban, just like the tasks, and that's about it. Next comes your timesheet. Uh, One of the most used time by project managers are in this section. So any user who's logged time within the task there, everything are then pulled into this information right here, the section right here. So we have different views. We have list, grid, and then month wise. And then if you go to the list, we have another view, which is also which is going to be based on date. I personally like based on users, because even when you go inside the users, I do have a date stamp next to it. So I can then segregate if it's John Wick, that which is me. I can then see, and then if you have another, I'm really sorry, I just have one user here, so you're only able to see one. Um, but if you have more users, first the username will be popped up, and then how many hours they worked in, and then next comes by it's then followed by then another user. So if you hover your mouse over here, you can always approve, reject. So approve time logs then can be pushed into invoicing and so on. If you click on the top right over here as add log time, you can add single log time, can select the user, or users themselves can come into the timesheet section here and then select any specific tasks or an issue, and then add a note to it, and then add a log R or something. We do have a format for logging as you can just type on, or if you just want to know the different types, you can just hover your mouse to a small question mark here, and these are the supported formats. And then you hit add. Status billable, non-billable. Remember when we were creating a project, we chose non-billable. So I mean, I chose billable though, but if you're going to choose non-billable, the users don't have to each time select this, because at times users might forget, and then they might just choose just direct billable and then put in, and then when your project manager comes here, it's going to be an extra work for him to click edit here and then make those changes for them. So it's better you choose what your projects are going to be, how they're going to be. It's going to be billable or non-billable. So you have 50 users in a project, and you've gone through each and everything, but instead of hitting one by one, you can select a specific checkbox. When you do that, at the top you get this thing. Let's say if everything is well and good, you select this, and then all of these logs under them get selected as well. So what is going to be the status? I hit on status. Is it going to be approved? When I hit approved, voila, everything is approved. If I don't like that, I hit on pending. They get reverted back. It's yet to be rejected or approved. Then I can multi-select once again. Billing status is going to be billable or non-billable. I can select multi time logs and then choose non-billable as well. That's about it. You hit on three dots once again, which we discussed. Three dots anywhere within projects would give you export. So here, what you see in PDF is the one which you're currently viewing on the screen will be pushed into as PDF. The one which you hit as export as timesheet is your spreadsheet. So you can choose a specific time range. You can choose for different users, or you can choose for all users who are available, and then you can hit export. That's it, done. Next comes your interesting section, your GANs and report section. So within the left pane, when you go into the GANs and report sections, you have six different um, default reporting options, which is provided by Zoho. So you can click on the Gantt chart. We have two different types of Gantt charts. One is the chronology Gantt at the top. If you would see, I'm really sorry if I'm moving my mouse too fast. When you come into the Gantt and report section, please click on the Gantt chart. When you're inside the Gantt chart, at the top left, you have a small drop down. You can choose which Gantt you would like, and then you can use them. So what is chronology Gantt? Right now we've chosen chronology Gantt. Chronology, as the name states, it displays your tasks based on um, chronological order. So based on, really sorry about that. When I mean chronological order, it's based on the start and due date of the task. So if your tasks do not have a valid start and end date, you might be wondering, I have 50 tasks in my task, I mean in my task module, but then when I come here to the Gantt chart, I only see 5 or 10. That's because you might have missed out on entering a valid start and end date. If you don't have a valid start and end date, those tasks will not be shown here. So you can use these options here as zoom in and zooming out, and you'll be able to see all of your uh, tasks in much simpler way. Um, and then you just click. We have different types of dependencies. We have four types of dependencies. You click on a specific task and you drag. You set a dependency. So by default, the dependency is finish to start. So you can click on the specific parent task right here on my dependency. And right now I've set finish to start. Uh, that's because I have a due date, which is not mentioned. So I'm not able to set this up. So let's say here, these are my various tasks. So predecessor, I have none. My successor is I have finish to start. So finish to start, and then I have start to finish to finish, and then start to start. So these are four different types of dependencies which we provide within projects. And you would find the small thing which is popping up and now. So what does it mean is just unlinking. So if you don't not like the dependency which is set up, you can hit unlink and then that dependency gets over. So then what is you can set lag time as well. So when I kept finish to start dependency, so immediately when this task gets over, which is my dry balcony, I'm really sorry about that. What did I do? Where did it go? There. Okay. So I have set dry balcony. So and I've kept finish to start. So and what does it mean is once my dry balcony gets over, my next corresponding task gets started. But if you need a time gap and for such activities, you can when you after you keep that, you can set a time lag as 1 day. You can give it for cooling period, and then automatically, if you see, you just saw it moved. You can click drag your tasks, and automatically my subsequent task will also move if I have kept a dependency. I can push it forward, I can move it backwards, I can click on the small, if you hover your mouse over here, you would see a small arrow mark. I can expand the duration, um, and then I can even reduce the duration by doing this. And so on. I can click on the view by, show more options at the top left here. I can give the date, which will then give me the date. I can click on assignees, that will show me the assignees, task title, overdue items. I'm sorry, but most of my tasks are overdue. Yeah, this is a very long, old project, so let's just ignore that. It's just that never happened. Okay, so yeah, and how do we export this? Good question. You click on the more option over here, print or convert to PDF, and then you have settings. When I said you have three main settings in dependency option, so you can click on this option here. You come into the dependency settings, it'll open a new tab, and then you'll be able to set up three different options. Um, so moving up due dates, extending due dates, or completing all of this can be enabled. You can also choose the default dependency, but by default system will choose finish start. You can also choose any type of this, and then you can then set up a dependency, and automatically that will be followed within the Gantt chart. So that's about it for the chronological order. So within the chronological Gantt, everything here is based on the chronologically of the start and due date of the task, which is put in. It doesn't actually follow the project plan. It doesn't show you everything which you need to see. And if you need to do that, if you need to see the entire Gantt, some project managers like that, then you go for the milestone Gantt. You go inside the milestone Gantt. Voila, it shows you um, based on the entire hierarchy and the workflow which we discussed. So we discussed it based on our workflow was project followed by milestone, task list, tasks, and subtask. Milestone is your go-to option if that's the case. So for example, here, there you go. It's the best example. Like give, no, it's not the best example. Yeah. Mm, sorry to move my mouse so much. Okay, so evaluation is my milestone. It is indicated by a red bar here. If it is not overdue, it'll show in green. If it's overdue, it'll show in red. Flow plan is my task list, which is always displayed in gray. My tasks will always be listed in blue, and then my subtasks should be in a different color. Oh wait, where's my subtasks? Yeah, there you go. Um, any legends, if you're getting confused with this, click on the three dots at the top right, legends, and then these are your informations, yeah. And then you'll be able to figure them out. So my rest of the options are same. You can hit the filter, you can even add tasks from this section, add tasks, and then so on, and then show more options again, date, assignee, and so on, and you'll be able to do that. That's it for the Gantt chart. Next comes your resource utilization. You can basically categorize your resource, see the resources availability. So here when you come into the section, um, so within this section you have on the left side you have the resources which are available, and to the right hand side of the page you have your on based on week, and how many, what are the resources are allocated to. So when I click on the specific user, their tasks get reflected here. Usually you will have more in the section, but since this is a test project, I'm just going to show you how this works. So the resources are displayed here. So within this, so when you click on the resource, then comes your task, which is allocated to them. Um, and then basically this displays, it is then calculated based on your business hours and then the work hours, which are basically given to the specific user. So if it is on green, that means your user has associated hours within the specific business hours which I set. So when it says 0 out of 9, my business hours is 9, so I have 0, so he has more time to work on it. But when you come here within the next document, that is what you saw for 5 hours. But here for John, when you see, I have 9 hours on blue, and that means for entire 9 hours or the business hours, John is then will be working on this particular task. And then if it's red, if it's more than 9 hours, that's if it's extending more than my business hours, it's gonna be in red. So this is how the seesaw is getting. So green is within your business hours limit. You have extra time to spare within your business hours. Blue is ultimately assigned with your business hours. So if it's 9, you're assigned for 9, it's going to be blue. If it's going to be red, it's more than your business hours. It might be super confusing, but it's quite easy. You come into the section, you click on the question mark at the top right. It gives you whatever I said. All those information are right here. You can also view our user guide, and you can come. Or there's a small GIF here, which I forgot to mention. So you click on the section here, and then it will basically show you how how the resource utilization chart works, in a small GIF. Now, some people might be wondering, or they would like to see, or categorize their resources on a monthly view so that they just done and dusted for that month. Um, Mostly project managers like that, so you can hit on the filter at the top right. Instead of choosing week, you choose month, and it then changes to a month. So you can then see, if it's blue, again it's the same. If it's red, if they're over allocated or so on. And that's it for resource utilization chart. Let's just go quick by quick. We have planned versus actual. So the planned are your work hours, they are actual are your log hours, and the difference is calculated here. So if I hover over the mouse for John, I click on John, so all the tasks associated with John will be displayed here. Work hours which I've assigned to him, and then the hours which he's actually input, clocked in and clocked out, and the difference. So if you wanna just find out the performance quickly, you can use this option, and you can also find out if they're actually working or not, also by using this option over here. The next is your task reports, your basic task reports. You can categorize them based on milestone, status, priority, owner, or if you have a custom task report which you would like, you can choose based on status and owner. And then you hit apply, and then it gets filtered out. If you don't like the chart type, you can hover him off to the top right and choose a different chart type, and then the information below that will then be listed here. You can click on the three dots. Once again, it's the same, export to PDF. Coming back, it's the same for your issues report as well. Um, Status, assignee, reporter, and then you have custom issue report. which you can then choose. And then, so basically, if you're running into a meeting, you can just get this out, print it out, and then go inside the meeting. We're done with the Gantt reports. Next, we have calendar. So calendar here, you can choose your color for your calendars. On the left side, you can choose for issues if it's going to be this, and if it's going to be tasks. I do not like purple, so let's choose blue. So it's going to be blue, and my milestones are going to be red. Yeah, that's much better. Pink, whatever that is. So here you can, just like a Gantt chart, you can click on drag your tasks, and it automatically gets listed here. Same thing goes for your milestone. Our calendars are monthly based, so you can click on any date on a calendar on the section, and you can directly event and create an event, Zoho meeting, milestone, task, or issue. It's just like on the go. So if you want to do that, you can do that from this section, or you can do it from any of the modules from this section as well. Your next question might be, can I sync this calendar to my personal calendar? Yes, we do have an option. Rufus will assist you with it. But to quickly show you, click on the three dots on the top right. ICS help. You click on ICS help. By default, when you click on the section, it will be something like this. You hit on gendered iCal and GCal, and then this information pops up. So if it's for iCalendar, you copy this URL and paste it in your iCalendar. If it's Google Calendar and Outlook Calendar, you hit on copy URL over here, and then you paste that there. And information which is associated to you will then be pushed over to your personal calendar. This is based on personal calendar only. So this is a user-based calendar. I'm sorry, it's a user-based calendar. So only information associated to you will then be pushed into your personal calendar. If you're trying to get every information for all the users, it's not possible. Only the one which is associated data and is associated to you will be pushed to your personal calendar. And now moving on, we have the documents. Earlier, when I was saying that when you're uploading a tasks, I know document to a task, it's 20 MB. Correct. Let's say you work on a construction based company, or any type of company, or a report agency or an ad agency. Usually people take photos and then they try to upload. If it's a higher resolution picture, it nowadays it easily crosses 20 MB, and that's really not helpful when you do that, when you directly do that from the tasks module. So in during such times, you come to the document section and you upload it here, because here each file has an upload size limit of 500 MB. Okay, so you can do that here. Now the best part, what you could do here is, I upload a 500 MB directly from the section. So I go to new at the top right, I choose upload file, maybe it's in my system or somewhere else, and then, or let's be more advanced. I have a mobile, it's then connected to my Google Drive or my Box Drive or be it anything else. Um, and I have that here. So it's directly gone to my drive, and then from my drive I take it and then put it over here. So once I upload that here, I go into the specific task which I've taken the picture for. And then, oops, why is it taking so long? Yeah. So I come inside, let's say lab, and then I go inside lab, I go inside the document section, and then I hit attach file. So you have various options here. Please don't get confused. So if it's gonna be desktop, it's from your system. Then if you choose documents module, it actually refers to the documents module of the project which we're discussing about. So it would have that 500 MB file there, and it's just gonna link it. You're not gonna upload, but it's just gonna link, and that just get links here. So basically, you've just uploaded a 500 MB to a 20 MB task here. So you're just linking that file here, and then it's much more easier for you to do this way. But when you're directly uploading to the task, it's only going to be 20 MB. So coming back to the document section, so as we saw an option earlier, you have an option to upload from your desktop or from your laptops, which is choose from upload from files. If it's from cloud, you have Box, you have Google Drive, you have OneDrive, and then you have Zoho Docs, you have Zoho Work Drive as well. Why did this get changed? Okay. And on the go, you can hit on new at the top right. You can even create a new document. It'll open a new tab at the top right, and then you can enter a document name or anything such as that. We also have a Dropbox sync. Please note, Dropbox syncs within projects only support personal Dropboxes. If you have a business level account, it will not support business level accounts. So please make sure, if you're trying to sync a business level account, it'll not work. And if it's a personal level account, multiple users can log in and sync their Dropbox account. So when another user logs in, they'll not be able to see the other user's Dropbox account. So you don't have to be worried if your Dropbox is synced. So the other user will not anyway be able to see them as well. Next, we can move on safely to forums. For our forums work like any e-forum which is available on the internet today. You come here, you can select create categories, like how we created categories or groups for projects. You can add categories. You hit on new forum post at the top right, enter the title, content. This box will expand the more you type, so you don't have to worry about that, or you can just click on expand editor and it just expands. So you don't have to worry about how it is, and then you can even choose uh, a file which you're going to upload. And then category, again, external or internal flag, which is very important, which we discussed earlier. And then if it's going to be external, then you only have two options below that. Either it's going to be, you can post it as a Q&A, or you can make that as a sticky post. If you make that as a sticky post, at the top right, you will have, those forums will be there. So you can easily navigate instead of scrolling here on the left side. But if it is an internal forum, if it's an internal flag forum, we have a third option which is available, which is called make this an announcement. So if you want to discuss something very important, maybe a policy change, maybe like how maybe the HR wants to update something, or the CEO wants to make an announcement, when it clicks on this, an email notification is automatically sent to each and every user which is associated to this project, and they can then click on that stating that, hey Richard, Mark, or John has made an announcement, please click here to view this post, and then you click on that, and then it actually redirects you here, and that's about it. So to quickly show you how the forum post would look like, this is how they look like. And if you have images as attached to it, I think this is how it should be. Oh, oops, where did that go? Yeah, there you go. So this is how it would actually look, and then you can have your comments, and then if you want to delete them, edit them, you can do that as well. Next we have is your pages module. Pages module are your wiki section of your project. Site can be created directly from here. You can even create, you can have your own site map. You can even navigate your navigation pages will be created. So my wiki, I've created here as Wix construction. So when you go here, I would have the basic information of everything which I need for the site over here. Any other information apart from that, tips and tricks for the newbies who have joined for the specific project, I can link that. If there's any online post on a different website, you can get that information here as well using various widgets, which I would show you in a minute. I can even have a set of widgets from YouTube. I can get an inline. I can even paste and video, which runs in. I'm not sure why the YouTube video is not loading up, but it does work. So yeah, now when you hit on edit or when you create a new project, it basically gives you various options. So when you come here, the main options for you to notice that is your insert. You insert, it can be a web link. If you want to create widgets, you can hit on widgets. If it's going to be code or HTML, you can hit that way. Let's go inside widgets. You go inside widgets, you have multiple widgets here on the left pane. Most of them are Zoho, but after that comes your Google search. You can have your Google video, Google Analytics, and then you have Google gadgets. If it's going to be Google Map, you can even use ice frame widgets or embedded templates as well. You can input all of them here. It's just like a mini website. You can even share this as well. Um, and that's about it. Still wondering why this is not loading though. Okay, but it does work though. I guess the YouTube video, I think I have to update that. Sorry guys. Yeah. Um, Next is your, where were we? Pages. Yeah, finance. Zoho Finance is only available when you integrate books and invoice. Because I did tell you earlier, if you're gonna create invoices, it's within the Zoho Finance tab. This will only be available if you have set up in integration between those two applications. Um, else it will not be. So next we have chat group. By default, you have a chat group which is created with the project name. You can even create a new chat topic at the top right. You can even make this as a public or a private chat topic. And then you can invite users and then have a group discussion. Next is your users. I should have discussed this first, but I'm sorry. But yeah, this section is the section where you decide which user is going to be working on this project. So we have two sections. One is the users, which determines your portal users, the one who work for you, for the company. The next set is the client users. So here at the top right, you add the client users, add the client company, and the user is going to be part of this project as well. And that's about it. We are done with today's webinar. But before we close, I would like to share few tips and few information which was recently launched. If you go to the setup, I would have missed out on Teams. Teams is a fairly new feature which was recently launched. It's basically if you're working on in different sort of companies, some of them will be developers, some of them will be site engineers, some of them would be a sales team. You can create different teams and you can assign users to that team, and then you can also be able to see the status of the task for these team members and the associated projects. So whichever projects they're associated with, all of this information will be pulled up here. In future, you'll also be able to assign these team members to a specific tasks directly. But for as of now, you cannot mention them to any feed, and then you can put a comment or something like that, and then automatically an email notification is triggered. Um, to quickly show you, it should be something. Oh, what are my team names? Oops. Yeah, management. So yeah, so something like that. So I just start mention them. Sorry guys, having some few problems here. So yeah, you hit that and then basically those that team gets tagged there, and then that information gets pulled out. If you're fairly new, and I hope this webinar was helpful for you guys. But apart from that, you click on this small recent updates icon on the bottom right next to the live chat. You can also hit live chat and then chat to us. We'll always be able to assist you with. We work um, 24 hours into 5. So you hit recent updates here, and then you can see what has gone wrong, what has happened in the past couple of days. Or you can click on the need help icon on the bottom right, which is really very helpful for you guys. You hit on learning center. It gives you a new tab. We have bunch of various GIFs for you to learn. So every crucial um, option which we have is then put into GIF. So you can basically click on any one of them, and then it will basically show you the working and which plan it's available in, and just an overview of how this works. It's really helpful for you if you're just starting new. You can also click on what's new and then check what has been recently rolled out. You can click on support. You can hit on support and then check um, what you're going to write to us. You can also hit on FAQ if you can only ask questions. See what most of our users have already asked in, and then we have put in those information here as well. Um, Thank you so much for attending today's webinar, guys. I hope you had a great time, and I hope that you all stay safe and be blessed as well. Thank you so much. Have a nice day. The chat will be open for the next 10 to 15 minutes, and Rufus will assist you with the questions. Take care.